Well, good morning, everybody. I don't know when you're watching this, but it is 6:30 in the morning as I am recording this. And I am recording this because DeAndre Hopkins has been traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, or at least the trade is being finalized as I record this, that would send DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-round pick. It is a conditional 4th-rounder, pretty much, is what DeAndre Hopkins is being sent to the Kansas City Chiefs for. And let me say this. First of all, I know it sucks, Titans fans. I know. To have to be the team that is 1-5 and just trying to trade anybody you can for draft capital so that you can look to next year, I know that sucks. Even when you know it's the right thing to do, even when you know it's what needs to be done, it makes sense, it still sucks. And I know that because we hoped this team would be better than it is. I didn't think the Titans were going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I didn't think they were going to win the AFC South this year. I thought at best they could make a push for the 7 seed as a wild card team is what I expected as the ceiling for this team. I hoped that we would have some fun times with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, and that Will Levis would be better and be able to get the ball to these guys. And you know, it just hasn't worked out. And the Titans are 1-5. And it sucks, but here we are. DeAndre Hopkins being traded, and this is what needs to happen. You know, this is the point we're at. This is how it has to be. DeAndre Hopkins was going to be a free agent at the end of this season. He was not going to be back in Tennessee next year. So, you know, you either trade him, and I'm sorry if you guys, my dog is just over here having a field day, but you either trade him now and get something in return, or you wait until he's a free agent and you get nothing. The Titans are 1-5. This is what teams who are 1-5 unfortunately have to do. As the trade deadline approaches, you got to start looking at who you can get rid of. And DeAndre Hopkins was one of the main people that had been talked about. And, you know, he's been a welcomed addition to Nashville and to the Titans. Obviously, just had a really good season last season, broke the curse of, you know, great receivers coming to Nashville and all of a sudden not being great anymore. He broke that curse. He had a really good season last year, even with the ups and downs of Ryan Tannehill and then Malik Willis and then Will Levis. DeAndre Hopkins delivered last year, and the only reason he hasn't delivered so far this season for the Titans is through no fault of his own. I mean, we all know why that hasn't worked out this season. So I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for, you know, the short run that he's had in Nashville. He really embraced the city, really embraced being a Titan. And now he's going to go be with the Chiefs. And I knew when I saw him on the sideline in the 4th quarter of that Bills game, then they tried to say it was because of lower leg soreness. It was like, yeah, buddy. I bet his legs aren't going to be sore when he gets to Kansas City. I mean, he's going from catching passes from Will Levis and Mason Rudolph to catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. And that is a real rags to riches situation for DeAndre Hopkins. And, you know, is he 32 years old? You know, and good for him that he's going to have an opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl probably before he retires. He's still DeAndre Hopkins. And so for the Titans, again, I know this sucks that this is where we are right now, but he probably won't be the last guy. Honestly, he probably won't be the last guy. Anybody whose deal is up, hey, bud, anybody whose deal, he's wondering why in the world we're this talkative at 6:30 in the morning. Anybody whose deal is up at the end of this year is probably going to be, you know, at least thrown out there as a potential trade. I talked about some of this on Monday on the podcast about who those guys might be. Tyler Boyd, Sebastian Joseph-Day, Ernest Jones, Quandre Diggs, Traylon Burks, even though I don't think you're going to get anything for him, but if you can, great. Remember, the Titans did get a seventh rounder for Isaiah Wilson years ago. So I guess it's not totally hopeless that we could get something for Traylon. But Traylon is on IR right now, so that probably hurts things. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the end of the trades for Tennessee. I'm sure that we're going to continue to see rumors and things like that. But DeAndre Hopkins was one of the main names floated out there from the get-go as a potential trade, and we knew it was probably coming. Kansas City was one of the teams that had been rumored. And I know I want to say this too, there are a lot of Titans fans who are upset by the compensation. They feel like we didn't get enough in return for DeAndre Hopkins. And I disagree. I think that a 4th or 5th round pick was what I was expecting. I know some of us had hoped to get a 3rd round pick, and yeah, that would have been magical, but I think realistically a 4th or 5th rounder was what it was going to be, and this is a conditional 4th rounder. So, you know, with Cooper Kupp hitting the, you know, trade block and some other receivers, I just think this was the most realistic compensation for him. I mean, remember, he's 32, and you know, it just is what it is. And so DeAndre Hopkins headed to the Kansas City Chiefs. Appreciate DeAndre Hopkins. He's been a total pro the entire time that he's been in Nashville in less than ideal circumstances. I mean, you know, he's been on a bad team. Last year, the Titans were bad. This year, the Titans are even worse. And he has remained professional, and he has really done everything he can to try to help in a bad situation. And so I'll always appreciate DeAndre Hopkins for that. And best of luck in Kansas City. I know there are people who are going to say, oh, the Titans let Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins both go. First of all, when it comes to Derrick Henry, it's a myth that we let him go. He was a free agent. He was a free agent who wanted to go somewhere that, you know, where he could compete for a ring before he retired. And so he went to Baltimore. Derrick Henry was not going to win a Super Bowl with the Titans before he retired. I mean, we're in the middle of a rebuild, in case you haven't noticed. So it's not like we traded him or chased him out the door. He wanted to leave. He made it clear. Was it Bussin' with the Boys where he said, I want to go somewhere and compete for a title? Well, now he's in Baltimore and he's doing that. DeAndre Hopkins, it would have made no sense to keep him on this 1-5 team where we're struggling at the quarterback position right now. We can't get him the ball. This team ain't going nowhere this year. So this is what the Titans had to do. It's where we're at right now. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, it sucks. I know it sucks to even be in this position, but this is where we are. This is what it has to be right now, and we just got to tough it out. And I don't think Hopkins will be the last. Let me know what you think about the trade. Let me know what you think about the trade compensation in the comments below. Tighten up.